Sarah had been working at the supermarket for over a year now, and she had always felt safe there. It was a busy place, with people coming and going all the time. But one night, she was about to learn that even the most familiar places can be terrifying. It was a late shift, and Sarah was the only one left in the store. She was stocking shelves in the dairy aisle when she heard a noise. She stopped what she was doing and listened. The noise came again. It was a soft rustling sound, like someone was moving through the aisles. Sarah's heart started to race. She slowly walked towards the sound, her grip on the milk carton she was carrying tightening. As she got closer, she could see a figure moving in the shadows. "Hello?" she called out. "Is anyone there?" The figure stopped moving. Sarah waited for a moment, but there was no answer. She took a deep breath and stepped into the light. There was a man standing there. He was tall and thin, with long, greasy hair. He was wearing a dirty hoodie and jeans. He had a strange look on his face, like he was staring right through her. "Can I help you?" Sarah asked. The man didn't answer. He just kept staring at her. Sarah started to feel uneasy. She took a step back. "I'm going to call security," she said. The man smiled. It was a cold, cruel smile. Sarah took another step back. "You can't call security," he said. "They're not here." Sarah's heart sank. She looked around the store. She was alone. "What do you want?" she asked. The man didn't answer. He just kept smiling. Sarah turned and ran. She ran as fast as she could, but the man was faster. She could hear him getting closer. She could hear his footsteps on the tile floor. She could feel his breath on her neck. Sarah turned a corner and ran into the back room. She slammed the door shut and locked it. She leaned against the door, panting heavily. She could hear the man on the other side of the door. He was scratching and banging. "Let me in," he said. "I want to play." Sarah backed away from the door. She didn't know what to do. She was trapped. The man stopped scratching and banging. Sarah held her breath, waiting for what would happen next. Then she heard it. A low, guttural laugh. The laugh echoed through the back room, sending chills down Sarah's spine. The man started laughing louder and louder. Sarah covered her ears and screamed. The laughing continued for what felt like an eternity. Then it stopped just as suddenly as it had started. Sarah waited for a few minutes, but she didn't hear anything else. She slowly walked to the door and unlocked it. She peered out into the back room. It was empty. Sarah didn't know what to think. Had the man been real? Or had she just imagined it all? She decided not to wait to find out. She ran out of the back room and through the store. She didn't stop running until she was out of the building and into the safety of the night air. Sarah never went back to that supermarket again. But she never forgot the supermarket man. A few years later, Sarah was watching the news when she saw a report about a man who had been arrested for breaking into supermarkets and attacking employees. The man's face was familiar. It was the supermarket man. Sarah was relieved that the man had finally been caught. But she couldn't shake the feeling that he was still out there, somewhere. Watching her. Waiting. And then 1 year later, Sarah was walking home from work one night when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around, but there was no one there. She continued walking, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being followed. She turned around again, and this time, she saw him. The supermarket man. He was standing in the shadows, watching her. He smiled his cold, cruel smile. Sarah ran. She ran as fast as she could, but the supermarket man was faster. He caught up to her and grabbed her arm. He pulled her into the shadows. Sarah screamed, but no one could hear her. The supermarket man whispered in her ear, "We're going to play a game." And then he disappeared.